to Steve Goodman, everyone!
Hey, how's it going? Good, thanks for asking. I think my cat ghosted me, but yeah, I'm not sure, because cats are always pulling that kind of stuff. But I'm kind of concerned because he stopped returning my texts. I don't know, have you guys seen these mattress firms? You've seen them? They're like on every other street corner, and it's kind of confusing because it seems like they're in a turf war with Starbucks or something. And it's not like buying a mattress as an impulse buy. It's not like you're driving down the street, all of a sudden you see a mattress firm, you're like, oh, I missed the turn. And then you're like, oh, there's another one over there. Awesome. But what I think they should do is they should open a giant mattress firm, and then in the center of that, put a Starbucks. And then in the center of that, put an even smaller mattress firm, and then just keep going with it, you know? Like those Russian dolls where you lift the heads off of it and stuff. But recently I quit smoking pot. Yeah, I thought I would clean up my act. And you know, I was talking to some friends of mine, they're like, man, don't you have withdrawal symptoms? How did you do that? And actually I do not, because I'm eating the shit now, so that's pretty good. But I had a near-death experience the other day, and it was quite shocking. Not that I came this close to losing my life, but the fact that it revealed to me that I think I have low self-esteem. I'll tell you why I think this. I was driving on the expressway. This guy totally cut me off. I looked over. I actually saw the other guy's life flash before my eyes. Yeah, his life looked pretty good. He just got cable. So, good for him. But sometimes I think, though, why am I like this? What's my problem? And I realize it's because my parents did such a horrible job of raising me, because they were not like these helicopter parents that you hear so much about. In fact, they were the opposite of helicopter parents. They're more like submarine parents. Yeah, because they were constantly torpedoing my dreams. Because I'm Jewish, that guy was Catholic, but yeah, my parents were really cheap, you know. And it didn't matter. Whatever I wanted to do, they would try to talk me out of it. Like, I remember I wanted to play guitar really bad, and they're like, that's never gonna lead to any substantial employment. And I'm like, dude, I'm 5. All I want to do is blow off steam. So I finally got frustrated, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just do karate instead. And they're like, why do you want to start trouble? I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but I know you're both insane. But, I mean, my parents meant well, they did, but they were just negative people, they couldn't help it. Like, my dad actually went to a bookstore one time, and he was actually looking for the self-harm section instead of the self-help section. Yeah, and he was into books with like really negative titles, like The Magic of Thinking Small. You know, that was one of his favorite books. And always take the first no. That was like his motto. Yeah, and he was in sales, so that sucked. But he was such a bad salesman that he would make Willie Loman look like a go-getter. Yeah. But you know, my dad's deceased, but my mom's still around, and she's 83 now, which is kind of cool, because now she's kind of funny. You know, she says weird stuff, like she'll put an S where an S doesn't belong, and then take the S out where it does belong. You know, for example, she'd be like, do you like Starbucks? And I'm like, it's Starbucks? She's like, oh, what did I say? I'm like, you said Starbucks. She's like, oh, that's not what I meant. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, do you like shopping at the Jewels? And I'm like, it's Jewel? She's like, oh, what did I say? I'm like, you said Jewels. She's like, oh, that's not what I meant. And then she's like, do you like cereal? And I'm like, yeah, I don't really eat cereal. Why? What kind of cereal do you like? And she's like, I like Cheerios. And I'm like, it's Cheerios? I don't think there's such a thing as Cheerios. But she's kind of a technophobe too. She doesn't understand to this day how to use an answering machine. Like when she calls me, she's like, hi, it's me, Mom. And I'm like, does she not know I have caller ID? And that I totally recognize her voice? And does she think my answering machine is just loaded with all these elderly women calling me? I don't know. But that's my time. You guys have been great. Thanks a lot.